Welcome to another exciting episode of Jets, Mets, and Regrets. We are still working on a tagline or something, so if you have ideas, make sure you drop it in the comment. We need some kind of sign on, sign off, Jason. Just something to really bring us home to the
Yeah.
people.
You know what? You think we should come up with it, or should we like maybe let the fans
I
pick
mean,
something
either
for us? Maybe
way,
we narrow it down to like three or four, then we do like an Instagram vote and see what everybody wants us to do, and we could try that out.
is there like some real old timey Mets or Jets like stadium chant or some shit that we could get rolling on? Like, there's
I
got to
did
be
find out the
something.
other day. I mean, the Mets and the Jets have like a song, but it's more like a fight song. Like
Okay.
they don't really have anything like that. And I know that like, the Mets broadcasters like they'll say stuff, or I don't know. I think we can think of something original. We probably just need to start talking about it, and they can give
Yeah.
some idea off the books, and we'll kind of go from there. I'll be honest, I haven't put too much thought in the opening and closing yet, but I think it's definitely something that's needed.
I wonder if there's like a Jets radio call that we could steal from.
Could
Something.
I don't really listen to the Jets on the radio. I'm more of a yeah, either go to the games or watch on TV. But there might be something. We'll figure it out. We'll
We'll
figure it out.
spitball. We'll come up with something
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Don't you guys worry. We got it. We got it.
Well, hey, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. We are filming on the second. Trade deadline was like 2 hours ago.
Yep.
Lots of parts moving. We'll get to that here. But why don't we start with the Mets, Jason? They just came off that Subway series. I know you wanted to talk about that.
Ooh, yeah. So obviously bragging rights. Had a lot of back and forth. Actually had a good video. I'll have to send it over to you. Maybe we'll enter it here. But really good video. Woke up on a Tuesday morning of last week, last Tuesday, feeling really good, just talking smack to my Yankee fan friends. Specifically Dan. Shout out to Dan. That's who that video was aimed towards. But yeah, I mean we took care of business, right? Fellas, you know what time it is today? Subway series. We got Big Taiwan on the hill. And Dan, I'm sorry, but it's over tonight. It is over tonight. And I think that game one, if anybody watched, Yankees had two first inning home runs. So started off the Subway Series right off the bat, hitting back to back home runs. But the Mets came back in the bottom of the first and tacked on four. And that's really what they've done all year is when a team scores on them, they come right back and they attack. And to do it against the Yankees, one of the best teams we've played, if not the best team all year that we've played so far, was awesome to do. So really good game there, and then the Yankees got a little taste of Edwin Diaz as well, seeing how he is the best closer and best reliever in baseball, with just nasty filth, getting Judge out, just really awesome stuff, really amped. But obviously knowing too, like, hey, we still had another game, right? We could have split the series, but going back out, having Max Scherzer on the hill, feeling really, really good. And Scherzer did what you paid him 42 or 43 million, however much he's making a year, to do. He shut out the Yankees and blanketed them. Of course, the bullpen gave it back 2-2, but Starling Marte came up big. Yankees in the ninth, or the Mets in the ninth, tacked on a couple hits in a row, and then Marte drove in the game-winning run. And yeah, it just felt really good. I mean, that was probably the best team we've played and beat all year. And I'm sorry, all my Yankee fans, but hey, you could say whatever you want, but right now the Mets own New York and they got the bragging rights for this year. We're talking 2022. I don't care. I know my one friend was like, "Oh, the Yankees have a better record right now." It's like, dude, who cares who has a better record? That would be like saying we had a better record in the regular season, but we beat you in the playoffs. Like, who cares, right? Am I right, Rick?
I mean, it's hard to argue with the logic there. 2-0 against the Yankees. You got two more games coming. I
We
think it's
do.
end of this month, 22nd to 23rd, I believe. So, you'll really get to see the finale. Chance for a four-game sweep.
Yeah.
As you said, 2-0. Really did it on offense and with pitching. Taiwan Walker with a quality start. Scherzer with, 7 innings and 6 strikeouts. And then, putting up 9 runs in 2 games is no small feat.
No, and the Yankees have a good team. Good pitching staff, good bullpen. So yeah, just felt really, really good. And I mean, if we played the Yankees every game this year based off of statistics and logic, we technically would go
Be
162
undefeated.
and 0. Yeah, and the Yankees would not have a win. So I mean, just to the Yankee fans out there, like I would just wait to talk smack until we play you again or until the playoffs or whatever happens then. But right now, I don't think you deserve any of the right. But I'm a little nervous. I mean, that Yankee ballpark is a little league ballpark, and their players are good at hitting little league home runs. So we'll see what happens. But Rick, that is a little league ballpark. I mean, it is small, man. It is small.
So it's early in the year still. Was this the World Series preview?
I think it can be. I think if you want, we could actually probably segue into the trade deadline now because I think there's a lot of teams who did improve. Uh, Obviously, I think some of before we get into the Met trade additions, some of my big favorite ones. Obviously, Soto to the Padres, huge. That's the team who's competing for a wild card spot in second place right now. Maybe could overtake the Dodgers, but don't even have Fernando Tatis. He's still coming back. They got a deep starting rotation with Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Musgrove. They just signed to a big deal. Really good lineup. So I think that was one of my favorites uh, so far. I think that's going to be really tough in the National League. I think they propelled themselves up. Probably the Mets, Braves, Dodgers, and Padres right now are the teams that I think have a shot in the NL. And then AL, I mean, Luis Castillo, another one I really like for Seattle. I think Seattle's been a team who hasn't made the playoffs that much recently, and I think this is going to potentially propel them to a wild card spot. I don't think it's good enough though to beat the Yankees or the Astros. I think those are still your teams to beat, but I like the Seattle going out and getting probably the best starting pitcher who was available via trade in the deadline. So those are some of the moves I liked.
I don't think anybody catches the Astros for the West. That's probably just about a done deal. I'm a contract guy. I love the weird contract stuff. So the Hosmer thing with the Padres, I was really interested in that. Turning down a trade, which is his right. He's got that no trade clause, but I always love the ins and outs of the contract stuff like that. So Hosmer ends up in Boston. Weird move for them, but the Padres eat most of the cash. So the Phillies getting better in a crowded NL East with your boys. They got Syndergaard and Wheeler there now, so that's kind of
Yeah,
Mets West. It's
yeah. They
an
just need
interesting one.
Harvey and Steven Matz and maybe DeGrom. Maybe they'll sign DeGrom next year when he opts out and we'll get the band back together.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly the Phillies are doing. They must think they still have a shot. I mean, they went and got a whole bunch of pieces. I
Yeah,
don't see it.
I think with the Phillies, it's tough when you look at that roster, right? Zach Wheeler, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos. They have a lot of guys who are on these big contracts. JT Realmuto, and you can't really rebuild with that. I don't think you could really trade those guys. I don't know what their value is. You're obviously not going to want to trade Bryce Harper. So I think for them, they kind of view it as like maybe some of their guys had a down year this year. But how do we maybe compete for a wild card spot? 'Cause I don't think they're going to catch the Braves and the Mets in the
There's no
division, but I
way.
think they're definitely in a wild card spot right now. Not necessarily. I gotta have to look at the standings again. I don't know if they're in a spot, but they're if not, they're a game or two out. Uh,
Yeah, the East is pretty stacked.
yeah.
Phillies are 10 games back of the Mets. They have 55 wins, so they're right there for a wild card.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what their thought process was. But good moves. I mean, Syndergaard's a good pitcher. Still, like maybe not the best year in Anaheim, but I think he adds to your team, and yeah, you still have Zach Wheeler and some good pieces there. So who knows? They could easily go on a run. There's still a
Yeah,
lot of baseball left to be played. A lot of baseball.
make a strong push and kind of see what happens. And I wouldn't be shocked if there were three teams out of the AL East and three teams out of the NL East when it comes playoff time.
Oh yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting. I think too. Yeah, you have those expanded playoffs, so that's going to be probably easier. But I think the Padres are probably a lock. Brewers in St. Louis looking good right now too. So yeah, you have a lot of teams competing for those wild card division spots. Uh, and yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, any team could come back, or a team like the Mets, Dodgers, Brewers could kind of hold off. Another one for me that was really interesting was the Josh Hader trade.
Yeah.
Uh, Out of Milwaukee, Milwaukee being a team who is in first place, and I know Hader has gotten kind of roughed up in his last couple of outings, not pitching well at all, but still, Josh Hader has been one of the best closers in baseball, if not the best in some seasons over the last couple of years. So I think that was a really puzzling move for me. I didn't really read or look too much into that, but I was very surprised when I saw that.
They grabbed the closer from the Padres and then a whole bunch of pieces. The Brewers do a decent job of small market teaming, but I mean the Padres right now are kind of rewriting the book on what small market teams are able to do, and they have a stacked lineup out west.
Oh, it's crazy. And I think even the trade for Soto doesn't even mean he's going to necessarily re-sign with them. I think we've seen big stars in the past. Machado, I think most recently when he was with LA, he didn't end up re-signing out there and went to San Diego. So that'll be interesting. 'Cause they have, I mean, you're paying Tatis, you're paying Machado still in his 300+ million contract. You just gave Musgrove 100+ million. Not sure what Darvish and Snell's contract look like, but
Probably too much.
probably.
It was interesting to see the Dodgers do essentially nothing again. They grabbed Gallo, but what does that really do for them?
Yeah.
It's an upgrade, but
going back real quick, I forgot to mention Gallo. I think that was just funny, Rick, because you had I don't know if you saw that. That was game 1, I believe. You had Gallo against Diaz. Yeah, Diaz came in for the 4-out save. And it was funny because you had the guy who strikes out the most in the league. I think Gallo's he might almost be at a 50% clip in his at bats, and Diaz is a little bit over 50%. Diaz is, dude, it's insane. He's striking out like 18, 19 per 9 right now. But that was funny, and you heard a lot of like Yankee fans forgot what type of manager Aaron Boone actually was when he makes that type of decision. Let me put in a guy who strikes out all the time versus a guy who always strikes out hitters. Like, and of course he struck him out. In case you guys were wondering how that story ended, Diaz struck Gallo out, but no more Yankee problem, I guess.
So how bad is the shit talk right now with your New York, New Jersey buddies? Are the Yankees fans getting real uppity?
I mean, here I'll pull up some text messages for you real quick. Why not just get right to the source, right? Why think and speculate when I could actually give you some messages? So and granted, let me tell you, the New York Met fan base, you know how long we've been waiting to be able to just talk smack in general, Rick. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been a really long time. Let me pull through real quick some of these text messages. It got, and this was actually yesterday. It got pretty heated. So my friend said, quote, "The New York baseball Yankees were the first team this season to win 70 games. What does this mean? Despite having throwaway losses to the Reds and the second-rate team Queens Metropolitans, wouldn't even call them by the name. The Yankees, indeed, still have the most wins in Major League Baseball. That's just a fact." End quote. And I had some good responses. I said, "Hey, you were awfully quiet a week ago. Did you just remember how to talk again?" Because Starling Marte didn't forget. So it's been like that type of smack talk. Simple math. 2 wins is better than 0 wins. That's just facts. I mean, in my opinion, my smack talk was very easy yesterday. It wasn't that difficult at all. But yeah, it is in full effect. I mean, I don't know if you saw my story after the Mets won. I had the Mets hat. I was like tapping it, saying, "Let's go." And I had a Yankee fan say, "Hey, wait till the playoffs." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But, already getting in their heads. They're not used to smack talking the Mets. They don't know how to combat the Mets when they're winning. They've only knocked us down when we're losing. This is a whole other realm for Yankee fans that I'm sure they'll learn eventually, like we all do, right? Like all fans do. But like it's going to take the Yankee fans some time to learn how to talk smack to a winning team, and Rick, and that's just a fact. That's just the fact of the matter,
It's like little brother grew up, and now you got to contend with him.
Yeah, that's what happened basically.
Well, hey, I want to talk about one more thing on the Mets before we move to some Jets training camp stuff here.
Yeah.
Your boy back tonight. We actually, I watched him as well. I had to throw the game on, but your boy DeGrom back in action.
Can y'all see that well or no? We got that in.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. So and segueing into DeGrom, just talking about the trade deadline real quick for the Mets. I'll be really really quick, but love the moves they made. I know a lot of fans are not happy because they were very average moves, no splashy Soto, no closer, starting pitcher, David Robertson from the Cubs, Contreras. I know those were JD Martinez in Boston, none of that. But just want to talk about some of the moves real quick and talk about stats on it. So, improved the bullpen. Got what's his name? Michael Givens from Chicago, 2.66 ERA this year. A couple of my Met fans were a little bit like, oh, we need a lefty specialist. But now with baseball's new rule, like you need at least pitch to 3 batters, it's tough to have those specialist pitchers because if you don't get a guy out, the next couple guys you face, you could be screwed. So I think at this point in baseball, you really need relievers who could get righties and lefties out. It doesn't matter what side you go from. So I think that was a really good move that improved the bullpen. Obviously, DeGrom, one of the best trade deadline moves, right? Even though we didn't actually trade for him and give up assets for him, just coming back to get a pitcher of that caliber. I mean, that's the same as the Dodgers last year going out and getting a Max Scherzer, but we didn't give up the prospects for it. So that's huge. When you look at Dom Smith this year batting 194 and JD Davis batting 238, they upgraded there with Tyler Naquin batting 246, Daniel Vogelback batting 235. And then they also traded for Darren Ruff today from San Francisco. And the things I really like about that, really where the Mets had issues this year, right? Rotation, I think starting rotation ERA-wise might be the best or one of the best in baseball. Bullpen, really good. I think third best in the National League. Maybe not after today's game. But really like DH. That's really haven't gotten production from. So Vogelback, he is elite. I think he has a plus 900 OPS against right-handed pitching. And then Darren Ruff, who they got from San Fran today, has almost a 900 OPS against left-handed pitching. So I think that gives Buck Showalter really, really good option when it comes to DHing, play the matchup against lefty versus righty, pinch hit when you have to. So I like the moves. They didn't sacrifice any of their prospects. Francisco Alvarez is the top prospect in baseball right now, catcher. So we're able to keep him. We got Brett Beatty at 19, a couple other guys in the top 100. So really pleased that they're building that farm system too, which has been lacking over the years and still able to compete. But going back to DeGrom, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, know what the guy's capable of. 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, only 1 run. Looked really, really good. 102 on the second pitch. Averaged 100 miles per hour on the fastball tonight. Like, just got to stay healthy. That's what it comes down to. But I have the utmost confidence that if Jacob DeGrom is healthy, I don't know if he's going to pitch to his 1.08 ERA last year that he had for the first half of the year before he got hurt. But, like, you don't need that, right? I mean, if the guy has a 2.5 ERA all year, like, that's huge. That is huge. So yeah, I'd love to hear your insight, talking from a non-Mets fan perspective, but yeah, it's obviously super amped today. I can't even talk. Super amped, to have him back.
Yeah, the controls seem to be there. That's the big thing for me, kind of as the impartial observer. Speed was there. His off-speed stuff looked great. But the control seemed to hold through those 5 innings. You and I were talking before we started recording. He probably should have stayed in there one more inning, but I definitely understand being careful with him, especially given the position that they're in. First game back, but damn, he looks good. If he can be 3/4 of the pitcher he's been over the last 3 seasons, they're going to be just fine. And plugging him in and saying, "Oh, this is like our number 3 guy." That's an incredible luxury to have. So yeah, looked great. I'm curious for the second start, but I don't think you can ask for much more. 5 innings, 6 strikeouts, looked awesome. So
yeah, I mean, and to think about the rotation, I was telling some of my friends too. Like, you think about even though the Mets didn't go out and get a great bullpen piece, like in the playoffs, you go with a 4-man rotation, right? So you have it's going to be DeGrom, it's going to be Scherzer, it's going to be Taijuan Walker pitching to like a 2.78 ERA this year, and then probably Carrasco. But that allows you to put a guy like Chris Bassett in the bullpen, who is also one of having a great year. We talked about him last episode. Tyler McGill when he comes back. David Peterson has had a good year. Put him in the bullpen. So like you really move some of those great starters who have pitched well for us this year into that bullpen, and that bolsters the bullpen itself too, come playoff time. But yeah, I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the second start. Obviously, they were being cautious today. Only 59 pitches. Could have went out for a 6, in my opinion, but understand why they didn't. But yeah, I'd be interested to see how he. I think it's just the health, but I want to see how he does in like a 6 inning game, a 7 inning game, and ultimately like, can you keep him healthy into the playoffs? But I mean, there's a lot of factors come playoff time, but in my opinion, this team's only going to go as far as DeGrom and Scherzer carry them. If they could be those lights out aces who put up zeros or 1 run efforts every game leading up to the playoffs, and if in the playoffs, which I think the Mets will make, even if they don't win the division, I feel confident in that wild card. That's going to be huge. There's no starting rotation in baseball. I mean, you could say Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. I mean, I don't think Yu Darvish and Blake Snell are Scherzer in the ground. I mean, yeah, they're great, right? They're two of the best pitchers in baseball, but I don't think they're Scherzer in the ground. That's just my opinion of a Met fan on it.
It's hard to argue with you on that because they're not, they're in San Diego for a reason.
Yeah. I love seeing nothing against San Diego, but yeah.
I very selfishly wanted one more inning out of DeGrom tonight for fantasy. I really could have used that quality start. I'm getting to the point in the year where I gotta get my shit together for fantasy. So I'll be keeping an eye on DeGrom.
How's your team looking this year? What's
second place right now? We're 12 points out of first. So
yeah, so DeGrom's a huge trade deadline acquisition for you, also.
Yeah, I got him and Scherzer back here after kind of struggling the first part of the year, and I'm.
Oh wow, yeah! The fact that you're in second and you got both of those guys back now.
Yeah, we just need steals. I need steals. So if anybody in my league is watching, I need stealers. I'm willing to trade for them.
Hey, somebody help Rick out, please.
All right, hey, let's jump to the Jets, who are in pads and hitting. I mean, football's here.
Yeah.
We got the Hall of Fame game in 2 days.
I'm so excited about the Jets season this year. Kind of feel like the Mets. We're getting pieces. They're putting together a good team. It seems like the front office is competent. They have a good head coach, manager. So I'm really, really excited to see what they could do. And like a lot of the Mets are a little bit different, I guess, in regard of they were more of like a veteran team and established, right? Like who you have with the Mets. The Jets are a little bit more of like it's all hype, right? Like these guys have potential. Will they live up to that potential? But I think one of my favorite things out of camp so far, I don't know if you saw, I think it was might have been yesterday or a couple of days ago, Zach Wilson just throwing this bomb to Elijah Moore. Absolute bomb. Kind of reminiscent of his pro day or his BYU day throw that he had where he was kind of like going off balance and he just flickered it up. And it was like, how did that guy do that? Like running that way that he did. Elijah Moore is wide open, probably like 5 yards past the secondary. But yeah, and just hearing really good things about hearing a lot of things. Hearing Lawson's looking really good. Carl Lawson, obviously tore his Achilles last year, but that was a huge free agent pickup last year. Thought we finally got our edge rusher that we've probably needed since. I mean, I don't want to keep Calvin Pace out of it because Pace was a really good above average player for the Jets, but probably since John Abraham, when we think about like a Pro Bowl, all pro level pass rusher, going back to the early 2000s. So heard good things about him. Teams praising Garrett Wilson and the potential that he has and how shifty he is. Seeing videos of Becton, big 6'7", 350, 360-pound Becton with a first-round pick, Elijah Vera Tucker from last year, just bulldozing guys. So, yeah, been hearing some really good things. The one interesting thing, kind of like this in football in general, that I think Salah was talking about was those new helmets.
They're so stupid.
That they're practicing with. And he had an interesting comment. I'd love to hear your take on this, actually. It was that, like, even though it's safer, he didn't like it because he feels like the players are now more willing. They're, like, in practice, they're using their head a little bit more because it's safer. But they feel like that's going to actually turn out to, in game time, they're going to be, like, playing like that. Like, they're going to be leading with their head more. They're going to be hitting with their head because that's how they're practicing right now. So I thought that was an interesting comment.
Yeah, I wish the league would actually invest in player safety instead of doing bullshit like bubble helmets for just training camp, because they're not going to make them wear them in practice during the regular season. So what's the point? Like, why bother? The head injuries in camp has never been like a thing. Probably is, right? It's probably a really important thing we should be talking about. But I mean, guys are still shredding their knees and stuff up in training camp. I don't. The bubble helmets just it doesn't move the needle for me. The NFL, it's another thing the NFL does. It's just window dressing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be interested to see yeah, statistically, there's more head injuries probably in the regular season, right? Second is probably preseason, and then last would be training camp. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I mean, and that'll be interesting to see this year. Like, are there more head injuries because of what Solid said? Not definite, but I think that's just an interesting story that I'm looking for, not only for the Jets, but like for the entire league this year. Does that end up happening?
I do love the ridiculous photos and all the players bitching about them. I really enjoy that piece of it. Um, Brees Hall supposedly running real hard. I
Yeah.
am drinking so much Brees Hall Kool-Aid. I'm going to make you pay so much money for him in Q&W. But Tevin Coleman back in camp. So good for depth at the very least. But I'm really curious to see once everybody's healthy, that third preseason game, what's this running backfield look like? Who's actually going to end up playing these snaps?
Yeah, it's tough. Coleman didn't have a great year last year. He's a veteran. I mean, I think a veteran can bounce back anytime. Better offensive line this year. Uh, Second year in the offense. So that'll be interesting to see. But I mean, at this point, Hall and Carter are 1-2, bearing any injuries or any major setbacks. But I think that'll be interesting to see, like, who separates himself. Like, does Carter have a better preseason and maybe you do more 50-50 or 60-40 Carter? Does Brees Hall just crush it and you lean more towards him? In the regular season, do you run the hot hand? I think there's going to be a lot of factors. And obviously, early on is going to be different from how the year ends up playing out. But from what I'm reading, it seems like a lot of people think like Brees Hall as of now is going to probably get like a 55-45 advantage or a 60-40 split. So we'll see. But it's football. I mean, like, injuries are going to happen, right? At the end of the day,
Yep.
no matter how much you wish your best players don't get hurt, like there's going to be an injury on your team to a starter. Like, it's just going to happen. Whether it's 3 weeks, the year, 1 week, a couple quarters, like, I don't know. We can't foresee it right now, but it will happen. So I think the story really that I feel good about with the Jets right now, especially offensively when it comes to like running back, tight end, and receiver, is they built up a lot of depth. You feel really good, like you said. Like, if Carter or Brees Hall go down, all right, Telvin Coleman's your backup. Not a bad backup to have, right? Tight end, like if CJ Uzama goes down, like, well, you have Conklin and you have uh crap, I'm drawing a blank on the guy they drafted out of Ohio State, Jeremy Rucker. You
Yes.
have Rucker, or if Uzama goes down, you still have Conklin and Rucker. So like, and then same thing for receivers. You have Elijah Moore, you have Denzel Mims, Corey Davis, a Garrett Wilson, a Braxton Berrios. Like, one of those guys goes down, you still feel good. Where last year, it's like there was a point where Elijah Moore and Corey Davis were hurt for the same week or two. Nothing against Braxton Berrios, but he's not a number one. He's just not. But he's a great number three. He's a great receiver to be on that field. If you give Braxton Berrios one-on-one coverage because you're paying more attention to Garrett Wilson and you're paying more attention to Elijah Moore and Corey Davis, like, that's a good matchup.
Yep.
Berrios will beat people.
He's fast.
He's fast. He's shifty. So I really like what they did there, and I feel really good that with injuries, like, they're still going to be able to call the next guy up.
So I'm a defensive guy. I like my defensive players. Quan Alexander in camp today, and I am hyped. He was a Saint. Love some Quan Alexander. He said he came to the Jets because he wanted the culture that they had there. He said, I wanted the energy of this team. And if he's fired up and the Jets are fired up, they can feed off of that. I am excited for some Quan Alexander.
Yeah, I've heard great things about the pickup. I'd love from you, being a Saints fan, him playing on the Saints. What type of player is he? What does he bring to the table?
He's very, very intelligent. He plays really smart football. He's got a habit to sometimes not be in the best position pre-snap, but he always sees it and he's fast enough to fix it.
Okay.
Good coverage linebacker. I think if he ends up wearing a single-digit number for the Jets, he's going to be better than if he wears a traditional linebacker number. Just makes him look faster.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he switched to 5. He switched to 5 for the Saints. He just flew around the field.
Okay, so hopefully Quan stays with a low number. Yeah, we'll have to monitor that for the next couple episodes. Yeah, no, I mean that was a huge pickup. Heard really good things about him. And who knows if they're done? I mean, They do have some cap space. I've been reading tweets here and there that like, man, maybe Douglas has another move. He saved some cap space over here. Maybe he's gonna extend somebody. I don't know. But yeah, going into this year as a Jet fan, it's tough. Talking with my friend about it, I mean, the Jets in my lifetime have really only been competitive for 5 years. In 98 and 99, I think 98 they made the AFC Championship game, lost to the Broncos and Elway, and then obviously they early 2000s had some good teams with Herm, and then I mean last time they made the playoffs was 09 and 010 with Rex. I mean, it's been 11, 12 years. So but for really optimistic this year, I don't know. There's just something about like when you see a team and they're all like talking about each other and excited and pushing for each other. And like even last year, I think like I've seen a lot of teams and even the Jets where it's just like there's so much dysfunction when you're losing. Like there was no dysfunction last year. Like even though they were a bad team, like there were no distractions. Like they just put their head down and went to work every day. And I think it's not going to be from a lack of effort this year from the Jets. You know, if anything, if they get outplayed or outbeat or outsmarted, I think it's because other players were better, the other coaches and other teams were better. But I don't think it's because these guys aren't going to put their best foot forward and put in the work every day.
They definitely seem to all be pulling in the same direction. And next time, I think by the next time we get together, we're going to have an actual Jets game to talk about.
We will, yeah.
So that's no small feat. We are just about there. Season's right around the corner.
Dude, it feels like just like yesterday we were talking about the draft and the Mets and all that. And hey, we're football season's right here, man. Baseball and football at the same time. It's gonna be a fun 3 to 4 months.
Gonna be a lot going on. That's for damn sure.
I'm pumped.
All right. So hey, last thing we have today. Do you have a regret since the last time we talked?
Yeah, 2 things real quick. So number 1, y'all, make sure you go out and vote. We got the Grom and Scherzer on the ballot this year. I'm not usually one to push my political agenda on anybody, but please, these guys are vying for greatness, and they want the best for their team and their players and their teammates. I mean, I think that's a cause worth voting for. Hall of Famer someday. So that would be number 1. Regret number 2 would be probably going to Vegas during the week. And it's not necessarily a regret. It's Vegas, right? Like, you always enjoy Vegas. You like Vegas. But, I mean, by going in the week, a Wednesday to Friday, I just feel like my weekend was just kind of like smashed. Like I already had my weekend. And then it felt like Saturday and Sunday were Monday and Tuesday, but it was still the weekend. But I didn't want to have 2 weekends in a row because it's Vegas, like still recovering, like even like financially, it's like looking at my wallet, like, can I really justify spending more money? So yeah. And then also too, I'm a big EDM and DJ guy. And they didn't really have any big name artists during the week, and that was disappointing. Every time I go to Vegas, they always have a big name artist. But ultimately, I had fun, enjoyed the time with the people I went with. So nothing against that, but that would probably be the one regret. I would, Vegas 1, Jason 0. Kind of like the Mets and the Yankees. When the Mets won that first game, it was like Mets 1, Yankees 0. So similar math in that regard.
So what you're saying is that Vegas is going to kick your ass again real soon.
They can, yeah. But then Vegas, they come to here, they're not going to be able to handle the heat. I know Vegas is hot, but it's like the Yankees Little League ballpark. It's like, hey, that's a whole nother ball game. Well, Vegas, come to Arizona, 115, 120, some dust storms coming in over the mountains. Like, see if you got that. Let's see what you could do.
It was bad Saturday. Saturday was real rough. We got stuck at a restaurant for about an extra 2 hours because that damn dust storm rolled through and trapped us.
Yeah, good for the restaurant, right?
Yeah, they're expensive drinks. I'm not going to plug them because they don't sponsor us, but it was at the Scott. It was a little spot at the Scott. It was actually a really cool spot to go eat.
Yeah. But hey, if they want a sponsorship, you know who to talk to.
There you go. I guess I only have one regret for the week, and it's like getting old. We played a lot of darts, and then I slept on my shoulder funny, and like I can barely lift it up like about that far, man. I've got to do some yoga, take like a hot shower. I can't get the muscles loose. So that's my regret is that I'm getting old.
Dang. And then there's really no fix for that, Rick. I'm usually big on giving advice, but yeah, I don't know. What do the old people do? Is there like a fountain of youth? Like
I
what's like
think
the
that
new like thing for old people?
I think you just get old and then you die alone. I think that's pretty much
Oh,
all there
okay.
is
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. And then you complain more, right? Is that what it is?
I've got that covered. I'm already there.
Yeah, yeah. There
I'm
you go.
thinking I'm thinking yoga and tequila. I think that's going to be my attempt.
I mean, you got me at tequila. I'm with you on that. Yoga, never done it before, but I'm open for trying something new and meditating and doing whatever. So yeah.
There's that new hot yoga studio not far from us, right in Old Town. So
Hey, what are we doing Sunday after the draft?
I think the guy that does it is a guy from The Bachelor. So
Oh no way.
I'll
There you
double
go.
check with the Champagne and Thorns girls and make sure that I'm right on that. But I'm pretty sure that's who that was.
Well, I think the best thing also, Rick, is that you do your research, right? You're a little bit older than me, not by much, but a little bit older. You do the research, right? The yoga, the tequila, whatever it is, and then report back. And that way, in 4 or 5 years, I know what I have to do.
Yeah,
So
that's really what I'm here for. I'm gonna make the
yeah,
mistakes so that you don't have to.
I would appreciate that so much.
Oh shit. On that note, thanks for joining us on JMR. We'll be back with you guys in a couple weeks. Probably right before the Yankees and the Mets play again, right after the Jets have a preseason game. So we should have a whole bunch to talk about, and then we're going to get into kind of our regular season cadence from there. So if there's something we've done and you've liked, let us know. If there's something you want to see, drop it in the comments, and we'll take it under consideration. But
Yeah, looking forward to it. And all I got to say, Rick, is probably one of the only Jet Met fan in Arizona. Been real. Till next time.
take it easy, guys.